Hello, everybody. Close down some things. Close down that, close down that, close down this. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Last Symptom Monday live stream here for the 9th of September. My goodness gracious. The year is trucking right along. How's everybody doing? Give people time to get in here. See if I can go on and make sure that folks can see me. Locals. Stream is live. Hi, Alicia. Well. Blast from the past. How are you doing? You're here on Locals with us. Bring us up to speed, Alicia. How are things going? Are you still down in Mexico? Or did you end up somewhere else? I've been nursing this beer for about the past 2 hours, and it's making me tired. Beer makes me sleepy. Still in Mexico. Well, it's such a pleasure to see you here today, and it's so good to hear from you. We were asking about you just several weeks ago during a live stream. Somebody was asking me how you were doing, and I said, well, I don't know how she's doing, but she seemed to be doing well the last time I'd heard from her. Are there still a lot of Russians down there around where you're at in Mexico? How's your Russian coming along? I had a hi, Carrie. I had a really in-depth episode of Last Symptom podcast here very recently. Not many Russians anymore. Did they all go back to the homeland because of the what's going on in between Russia and Ukraine? Hello, Nana. Good to have you here. Good to have you here, Carrie. Talking to Alicia. She's one of our... Uh-oh. What happened? Something going on here. See if I can fix it. It's not that. It's this. There we go. Oh, they crossed the border into the U.S. Are they living in Springfield, Ohio? Are they eating cats and stuff like that? That's in the news currently. Springfield, Ohio. I think my camera's going to be giving us some trouble today. Anyway, I did this complex episode of Last Symptom podcast, and I thought folks might like to have a follow-up to that because it was very complex, and I thought maybe I could simplify it in some ways. It was a discussion about what's true. It was a discussion about the source of all motive. And it was a discussion about feelings determining realities. For those of you who saw that episode or heard that episode, did you have any questions? Did you have any confusions about that? One thing I thought was important about that discussion is to spend some time thinking about how, well, let's focus for a second on the pursuit of, or the origin of value, the origin of motive. The origin of motive is the pursuit of value. So whatever I'm motivated to do, it's because I see value in something and I'm pursuing that. I'm pursuing that value. And so that's where motive comes from. Yeah, I'm talking about the Epiphany video. So that's true for everybody. It's true for healthy people and unhealthy people. Motive is being born from a pursuit of value. It's just that the unhealthy person's view of where value is different than a healthy person's view of where value is. So, for example, if I go and get a college education and I'm unhealthy, my primary motivator is, what are people going to feel about me if I have a college education compared to how will people feel about me if I don't have a college education? So see, that is pursuit of value. But the perceived value is in something completely different from the healthy person. For the healthy person, the value is in the education itself. So what's creating the motive then in the healthy person for going and getting a college education is in the perception that the value is in the education itself. But now going back to what's true or not. In the most fundamental sense, if something is not real, it's valueless. If something is real, it has value. And so there's a lot of situations where that provides an awful lot of insight. A lot of noise out there today. And part of the way that I applied that was talking to people who get awfully, almost violently angry and combative when you have a different opinion about them than something, or if you don't believe something that they believe. And the reason why that happens, because it threatens their truth. It threatens their, and I say that in quotation marks because we're talking about people who are establishing truth based on their feelings. Did you guys just see a fireworks show happen around me? Did I do that? Or did somebody do that? Anyway, I bet Alicia did that. She knows a trick. Hello, Chillaxed. Welcome. Good to have you here. So if you're a person if you're an unhealthy person and you're establishing truth or reality based on feelings, and then you come across somebody who feels something different, what's that doing? It's threatening not just an opinion. It's so it wasn't you, Alicia. It's not threatening, but you did see that, right? You saw that. So it's not just threatening their opinion. It's actually a threat to their very reality as they perceive it. And the reason why that creates such a response, a really vicious kind of response in many times, is because of value. there's no value in something that's not true or not real. But inherently, there is value in things that are true or are real. And so there's so many layers to that. It's not just threatening something they believe. It's threatening reality as they're establishing it based on their feelings. Why is that a problem? Because if it's not real, then all this thing that they're invested in is valueless. But the more people they can convince to get on board with this and believe this thing also that is ridiculous, then the more real it feels to them. And why is that important? Because things that are real have value. So that's this fighting response to anything that threatens their established quote unquote reality, is this understanding on some level, probably a very deep unconscious level, that if it's not real, then it has no value. And what establishes if a thing is real or not? Feelings. So not just one's feelings, but other people's feelings too. And I kind of talked about that, about how if you talk about convictions, an unhealthy person really doesn't have their own convictions, because they establish their quote unquote convictions based on looking around and seeing, how do people feel about my conviction? Well, if a bunch of people feel in agreement with my conviction, then my conviction then has what? Value. I'm allowed to believe in it. But if I look around and there are people who don't feel positive about my quote unquote conviction, what's happening? Then my reality, my conviction, is being assaulted. That's scary to me. Why is it scary to me? Because things that aren't real don't have value. And this thing that I'm deeply invested in, it scares me to think that not only is it not real, but it doesn't have any value because it's not real. I don't know who did the fireworks, but that was pretty cool. Talking about epiphanies. So, did you guys catch that? Now, the real epiphany of the episode was this. We've always said here in Last Symptom that, well, it goes back to equivalence. You guys remember that discussion about how emotional health works on a law of equivalence? That's what creates balance and harmony, is this equivalence law. And before, we had always talked about how the unhealthy person's value system is based on looking out and seeing what other people think. So what other people think is the source of all validity. Now that's true, but it goes deeper than that. And that was my epiphany, was that one thing that didn't make sense to me that I was trying to make work was that we're talking about people who do not view thought as being all that relevant to anything at all. They don't view thought and critical thinking as being relevant or of having value in the real world as far as determining realities and stuff like that. But they do view their feelings that way. So how could it be that these people, the same people who determine everything with their feelings, would then look at somebody's thoughts and feel threatened by that or offended by that or whatever? And that was when I realized it's not their thoughts. Now, it is thoughts because that's where all feelings come from. But really what's happening is they're looking at somebody who thinks differently, or let's say that, well, it's just not the thoughts themselves are not where the unhealthy person's putting any weight or value. It's in the feelings that the thoughts create. So all of our feelings come from our thoughts. Everything you ever feel is preceded by a thought. You can't feel something without first thinking something. So that's the equivalency. That's what brings the whole formula into harmony. They're not valuing your thoughts. See, when I say valuing your thoughts, that what I mean is that it's giving it any credence, any value at all. You know, if I say something, if I express a thought and you view it with no value whatsoever, then it doesn't bother you, nor does it contribute anything to you. It's completely irrelevant to you. When something is completely without value, it's completely irrelevant to you. So let's say that you get into a conversation with somebody and something they says really bothers you. That's you valuing what they say. Have you ever thought about that? You might not have, because you say, well, it bothered me. Yeah, but it can't bother you if you don't view it with any value. You're perceiving the thing with value. That's why it can bother you. Have you ever thought of that? Can't bother you unless you view it with value. My camera's acting up again. Tell you what, because I'm having some technical issues and because I want to get back to working on the book, we're going to go ahead and switch over to supporters only on Locals right now. You folks who are watching on the other platforms and you'd like to continue with this discussion, join us over there on Locals. You can do that by going to thelastsymptom.locals.com or by downloading the locals.com app from the App Store and then just searching for The Last Symptom by Brian Barnett within. For now, we're going to go straight over to supporters only on Locals and continue our discussion.